a whole lot of crap up till now. Been patient as a freaking saint. So why haven't I got to cop a single damn fail?
Oh, he's just like me. He's just like me, for real.
Everyone has at least one character who they relate to some degree, no matter what the medium of entertainment may be. However, in recent years, the term literally me has been thrown around exceedingly more and more, and is usually describing someone who kind of sits outside the social norm. Psychopaths, killers, and the likes are usually the characters that get attached to this title. Characters like Patrick Bateman, and although I don't watch a lot of films and haven't seen American Psycho, I know this man when I see him, and I'll be damned if I don't say he just like me for real, every single fucking time. However, if you look up literally me anime characters, there's no real videos kind of talking about it, only edits showcasing some characters that fit the description. And so that's why I'm here today, to talk about literally me characters and the power of relatability. And that is my really awful, bad, no good segue into relatable anime characters. Let's get right into it. Literally me characters can technically be any character, but the term was coined to represent a somewhat specific type of character. Someone who is typically male, outcasted from society to some degree, usually suffers from depression, lack of meaning, and/or existential dread. Since I could dedicate an entire video to what makes a literally me character, I'll just explain the concept briefly, or why they exist, using a quote from Tyler Durden, the main character of Fight Club. "We are the middlemen of history. No purpose or place. We have no great war, no great depression. Our great war is a spiritual war. Our great depression is our lives." That is why literally me characters exist in the first place. Men relating to male characters who revile societal conformity. You never would believe the amount of research put into making a video about fucking literally me characters. Wait, I mean, no, not about fuck. You wouldn't believe the amount of fucking research put into making a video about these literally me characters. Word placement matters. They're characters who may be protagonists, but they aren't always the good guy, although not necessarily the bad guy either. They exist inside a society where they are the standout and do what they must to survive, all while being unhappy and typically emotionless. Dingy Copperfield Man is a primary example of a recent literally me character in anime. The man just wants to live and live well, but is constantly put down at every possible chance by society and by those around him. He resorts to killing demons as his means of surviving in an almost symbolic relationship until he becomes the demon, the very thing society hates. He becomes less than human, all while struggling to maintain his humanity. After losing Pochita, Dingy is lost, without purpose, and scrambles to find a reason to keep living. And that reason is constantly shifting to better suit some unattainable goal to maintain a permanent reason to live. He lost his only friend and continues to lose people close to him constantly, and continues to be reviled by society that created him. He uses Mokka initially as his goal because who wouldn't want to be her dog? Although he did treat Himeno pretty badly. Sure, being Makima's dog would be cool and all, but Himeno, this right here, this, ladies and gentlemen, this is top tier waifu material. Sorry, I got a little bit off topic, distracted by... Anyways, Dingy goes through the 4 stages of a literally me character: outcast and depressed, lacking meaning, existential dread, and acceptance. For anime onlys, I am going to provide absolutely no context to the picture I've just shown. Have fun! Eren Yeager, outcast, lacking meaning, existential dread, acceptance. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, is a phrase that suits no one more than Eren. In the first few seasons, Eren wasn't necessarily a literally me character, but with the release of Season 4, he became the poster boy of literally me characters in anime before being replaced by Dingy. Part of that shift was because we, the audience, saw his growth and change from an innocent young boy to a psychotic, genocidal maniac, and because we experienced that with him, we're able to sympathize with his cause even when he is committing absolutely atrocious acts against humanity. And as a man, we come to relate to him. All boys start innocently, before the world kicks them down, and as men, we are told to bear it. Broken by that world, yet desperately trying to cling on to it, Eren holds his ground. However, it finally becomes way too much to bear, and being controlled by Ymir's blood, Eren becomes the very thing he swore to destroy, and frees himself from the chains of society set upon him, all the while ironically being chained down by Ymir. Seeing that change is what makes him such a good literally me character, and someone who, despite his extreme actions, many people can relate to, even if only on a metaphorical level. Plus, who doesn't love seeing Eren RKO a crowd of civilians out of nowhere? When he's not committing mass genocide, he's telling the people who care about him how much he hates them, and doing his very best to be edgy while doing it. Guts. We cannot mention Edge without mentioning the main man for real-life edgelords himself. Perhaps one of my favorite characters in the entire medium, Guts is a man who has seen some unspeakable shit. From being born from a hanging body to watching his best friend. Yeah, moving on. Needless to say, Guts has been through some shit. To me, there are two different versions of Guts as a person. There is the Golden Age Guts, and the my sword sounds like a frying pan, but I'm no laughing matter Guts. Or, more accurately, he's the learning to move forward Guts. Guts in the Golden Age has already been through a lot. Throughout the Golden Age, we watch his Guts runs from his past into every battle that he can find. Even when he joins the Band of the Hawk, he still looks for purpose by staking his life in battle, desperately trying to find meaning in life. However, eventually all of that is stripped from him, in part due to his own decisions. Following the eclipse, Guts becomes the edgelord we all know him as today, a shell of a man fueled by his hatred for the world, for constantly doing everything in its power to fuck him over. Guts, well, he's the edgelord for men, but there is another. Kaneki, the teenage edgelord. This is the character that people who are new to anime, or who are in their early teens, think is a good Sigma male. However, the only reason he is the way he is because he was a simp. He took out a girl for dinner, but really, he was her takeout. Kaneki is another character who the audience gets to watch decline very rapidly following the first episode, and can latch onto as someone who's put down by society and oppressed. He exists conforming to it, doing his best to exist alongside it, but realizes through some conversation that he and society are mutually exclusive, and the world cannot have both. Following this is when he becomes the true edgelord we all know of him as today, and where he becomes a literally me character in full, accepting that fate and giving into his nature as a ghoul. Hachiman Hikigaya is another literally me character for the teenage boy anime fans out there. My guy is excessively introverted and exhibits almost every single sign of being an incel. Rejected, now hates popular girls. Bullied, now hates people. Didn't have friends, now hates youth. Me. That was me. I was that kid. And boy, let me tell you, I related to Hikigaya on another level. I mean, based my entire personality off of him when I was in high school, another level. He makes himself the villain so others can be happy, and plays it off as if he hates everything about everyone. But in reality, he's just scared of getting hurt. While not as vicious as the prior mentions, such as never having committed mass genocide on a very massive scale and trying to eradicate the entire world, he has attempted to murderize people with his words. However, where other stories we see the characters decline, in Hikigaya's case, we see him going from the introvert to learning and understanding life and becoming a better person. But not all literally me characters are dark and brooding edgelords who exist outside of societal norms. There are some, like my boy Rengoku, who take the worst of society, spin it around, call it pretty, and hone it to be a fine sword to push him forward in a very positive direction. These characters defy the norm in terms of what is typically considered a literally me character. Mistreated, put down, dejected, rejected, abused, and beaten, and losing constantly, Rengoku chooses to keep standing up with a smile on his face, and pushing through adversity and hardship, and stand higher than his foes, and higher than his previous self, and continues to move on. And that is like 4 ands consistently. That is really bad English, because that's how a drill works, you know? Is it obvious yet that I'm not very good at transition? Shimon from Gurren Lagann is perhaps my all-time favorite literally me character. He goes from someone who doubts himself and his own self-worth to being practically a god, a man among men, in the same line as his brother Kamina. Not to mention, he has the absolute luck of a god. Simon also goes through the stages of a literally me character, although very, 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 very rapidly. Starting out as an outcast, following traumatic events, he falls into depression, which leads to existential dread about his meaning in life, finally solved by acceptance, which is all achieved before episode 15. Perhaps one of my favorite moments in all of anime is that moment. Instead of falling down the dark path like the past characters, he takes the Rengoku route and drills towards the heavens. These last two characters are examples of what I would like to call anti-literally me characters. Very creative, I know, Shakespeare of our time, absolute genius. They're characters people can very easily relate to as well, but they defy all the typical characteristics of other literally me characters. They're often the characters that people want to relate to versus the ones that they are relating to. However, it comes to show that these characters are extremely important, not only to the story and how the audience perceives it, but also because of how they can influence people. I mentioned in a prior video of mine of how some of these types of characters changed my life, and they certainly still hold true to this day. Even now, I find characters who I wish were literally me, and find a way to make myself closer to that ideal image of myself, as is the case with many of these types of characters. However, even if you used it in a negative situation, they allow for self-reflection and change to come about subconsciously. That's the beauty of literally me characters. Thank you guys so much for dropping by and giving my video a watch. It means the world to me. There's 1,000 more characters I could have mentioned, but I chose to mention only the ones I was super familiar with, so be sure to let me know down in the comments below your literally me character and why they hold that title. I'm super excited to see what you guys have to say. As always, if you enjoy what I do and want to see more, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to never miss a new video. If you want to go even more beyond that and support me on the next level, consider checking the description for my Patreon link down below. I would really appreciate that, but don't feel forced. I'm also sorry if the ending of this video felt kind of rushed. I wasn't really sure how to tie it all together, so I just did what kind of felt right, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until we meet again, this has been Wicky, signing off.
今そこに